So if you've been following the NBA recently, you've probably heard a lot from dorks like me about the importance of floor spacing and good perimeter shooting. And because of that, it's really not much of a surprise that stretch bigs like Dirk, Kevin Love, and Ryan Anderson are becoming more and more common. And bigs who used to shoot primarily from mid-range, like Enes Kanter, Serge Ibaka, and Chris Bosh, are being asked to shoot more three-pointers. Them doing this has many benefits, including more driving lanes for players who are more explosive and can get to the basket, a nice pick and pop option, and the three-pointer is one of the most valuable shots in basketball. However, one alleged downside to playing a stretch big is that it puts one of your biggest players farther away from the basket, which could hurt your chances of getting offensive rebounds. As Seth Partnow pointed out in a piece in hoopschalk.com, both Kevin Love and LaMarcus Aldridge saw their offensive rebound percentages plummet as their shot distance got further from the basket. However, on his personal website, Court Vision, Grantland writer Kurt Goldsberry showed that three-pointers were more likely to turn into offensive rebounds than mid-range shots and were comparable with non-restricted area shots in the paint. So I think that the question still stands. Does playing 4 out help or hurt your offensive rebounding? To look into this, I looked at Basketball Reference lineup data to find 5-man lineups that played at least 75 minutes together and had, at a minimum, 4 players who shot at least 1.5 three-pointers per 36 minutes and hit at least 30% of them. They also had to play at least 1,000 minutes during that season per player. There were 64 of these lineups, and the results were pretty diverse, with some lineups vastly out-rebounding their opponents and some getting demolished on the boards. However, on average, 4-out lineups were about 2.7% worse on the offensive glass than their opponents. This comes out to a whopping 0.3 of an offensive rebound per game. Whoop-de-doo. I think that there are a couple factors at play for why there isn't much of an effect for going 4 out on offensive rebounding. Although putting a big man at the three-point line does reduce his chances of getting an offensive rebound, it also does that for the guy who's guarding him. Because if you're guarding a guy like Dirk, you can't really leave him to get into the paint to grab the defensive board. The small margin that these 4-out lineups do get out-rebounded by may be best explained by the fact that many 4-out lineups are also small ball lineups, where a player who would usually play the small forward spot, kind of like Carmelo, Kevin Durant, Harrison Barnes, or Nick Batum, gets shifted to the power forward position. Perhaps these smaller perimeter players aren't quite as good at rebounding as their bigger, more interior-oriented peers. Either way, teams are going to continue to embrace stretch big men in 4 and even 5-out lineups. If you have the personnel, the benefits of easier driving lanes, better floor spacing, and more efficient shots outweigh the few risks. Fortunately for teams with stretch big men, their teams will clean the offensive glass just fine. If you thought this video was fine, give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down. Maybe leave a comment saying why or how you feel about stretch big men in today's NBA. If you like this video, think about sharing it on Facebook or Twitter, or maybe even subscribing to be notified of our future videos. I have to give a special thanks to our photographer, Keith Allison, who has made a bunch of awesome NBA pictures available in the Creative Commons. Rock on, go Keith. Check out his stuff at keithallisonphoto.com. And lastly, thanks for watching.